Alright lads, today we're going to be taking a look at the 5th Guards Armoured Brigade. This is basically known as the Sherman Firefly Premium Squad. It's available only to the allied players in the Invasion of Normandy campaign. As with all enlisted squads, it is quite niche, and it's quite a big asking price. For this squad in particular, it's for $35 or euros. No one likes parting with that sort of money, so before you do your research before buying. It's not like War Thunder, where one tank can realistically grind out an entire territory. And because Enlisted's playbase is so low and isn't seeming to increase that much, the price of premium squads is going to stay high. But let's actually talk about this squad. And it's rather simple, to be honest. It was basically a tank squad that was sent to Normandy during the invasion. It's a Sherman Firefly fitted with a 17-pounder high velocity gun. In the game itself, it is incredibly powerful, probably the strongest gun available to the Americans, which is rather pay to win, but briefly moving past that point, the tank is very good both in terms of its armor piercing capabilities and in its high explosive anti-infantry capabilities. The tank has a coaxially mounted rifle caliber machine gun, and if you put your player into the commander position, you can also control the 50 caliber machine gun mounted there, making this tank incredibly powerful both against anti-infantry and anti-tank characteristics. And because this is obviously a premium squad, it is absolutely fantastic for grinding. But what do we actually get with this squad? Well, let's start from the basics and work our way up to the big stuff. The tank has a crew of 4 men, all of which are level 4. This means they come with a baseline perk, as well as 4 additional crew perks. The base perk is a 45% speed increase to the gear shift time. This basically increases the acceleration when you're driving the tank, basically giving you a little bit slow speed and mobility. Perfect for reversing away from those pesky infantry players. We also have an improved targeting skill. This basically allows you to rotate the turret faster. Again, just making you more efficient on the battlefield. There is also a 30% bonus to the speed of changing a seat in a vehicle. This is pretty good for switching between the commander and the gunner. The gunner of course has a much more detailed sight, whereas the commander has a better all-around vision. We also have quite a useless skill in my opinion, which is a 100% bonus to the health regeneration outside of combat. If you're taking damage in a tank, then you're doing it wrong, aren't you boys? Don't get shot in the first place if you can avoid it. We then have probably the most important skill for a tank premium squad in Enlisted, being able to change the type of ammunition without losing the reload progress. This allows you to switch between armor piercing and high explosive rounds, without having to restart the reload countdown. For example, if you get 90% way through a reload and then change to an armor piercing round, it won't reset. So the ability of being able to reload without losing progress, the improved targeting, and the 45% speed of the gear shift makes this tank an incredibly powerful and responsive vehicle, great for grinding out a territory, or more accurately I guess, a campaign level. While you do have quite a lot of perks, when it comes to the individual equipment of the players, it's not fantastic. As you can see from this picture, we basically get a Colt 1911 and a toolbox. Kind of like a ghetto Detroit worker, I guess. Anyway, not too much to say here. The 1911 does hit like a freight train, but it's incredibly short range and very inaccurate. Pretty much only good for a last resort stand. We then move on to the tank, which I have largely already covered. We have a 76mm quick firing 17-pounder cannon. This is great for taking out even the heaviest German vehicles. While the Panther and the Tiger tank available for the Germans in the campaign are quite formidable, they can still be penetrated with this gun. The biggest problem will be the Panther. That upper frontal plate is no joke, and you will have to kill it by shooting through its turret front. The Tiger is much more simple, mainly due to its flat armour. You can shoot it in the flattest part of the hull, as well as the turret front. If you do get a Tiger player that knows what he's doing and he starts to angle his armour, then you will be in trouble. But without a doubt the Sherman Firefly is the best tank the Allies get access to, at least in terms of anti-tank capabilities. But you shouldn't scoff at the anti-infantry capabilities either. This gun does fire a 77mm round, which does contain enough explosive fuel to get quite a large blast, perfect for taking out groups of infantry. And again, as I've already covered, you have the rifle caliber machine gun, as well as a 50 cal machine gun mounted on the roof, which will mow down infantry incredibly quickly. While the firepower of this tank is excellent, the survivability and mobility do leave quite a lot to be desired. It is after all a Sherman tank, so the Panther and the Tiger will have no problem penetrating your armor whatsoever. So kind of like real life World War II, whoever practically gets the first accurate shot off will be the victor in a tank duel. So don't go balls deep through a map, take your time, look for the common tank camping grounds, and try and get that first shot off. Use the gunner's sight to be more accurate. Try and stay out of the way of infantry, don't get too close. That advice goes with any tank, but the Firefly does have quite a long reload, at least longer than the 76 and 75mm armed Shermans. But you do have a lot more firepower compared to those tanks. So is this tank worth picking up? Well, it's quite a hard thing to say really. If you're familiar with the Allied invasion of Normandy campaign, you know that there is a premium Sherman Firefly as well as a premium Sherman Jumbo. I'd argue that the Jumbo is actually better for killing infantry. It's got much thicker armour, which makes it more forgiving for people who aren't particularly great in tanks. Tanks are easy to play in Enlisted, at least when it comes to dealing with infantry, but if you get a very competent player on the German team who's using a Tiger or a Panther, they can basically just low pen the Firefly. Where with the Jumbo, you kind of have to do angle, but you are largely immune to their incoming fire, unless they hit your machine gun port. The premium Jumbo also has a very high powerful high explosive round, as well as a 50 cal and rifle caliber machine gun, making it just as good as dealing with infantry as the Firefly. So the only real advantage that the Firefly has over the Jumbo is its anti-tank capabilities. If you had to pick between the two, I'd say that the Jumbo was a slightly better tank. It's just a little bit more forgiving for newer players. But it's quite a lot of money. I've used this tank to grind a hell of a lot of the Invasion of Normandy campaign. I can't really tell you how to spend your own money. It's a very big purchase indeed. Do some research before you actually make a payment that big. Watch some other YouTubers, see if they like it or not. But anyway lads, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. It does really help the channel to grow. With all that being said, thank you very much again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next review.